and welcome back to Thriving in College, where we break down everything college, from school to stress to friendship, relationships, and more, all to make sure you thrive in your first 4 years of freedom. I'm your host, Zoe Jones, and today we take off the stress of finals week and how to cope with different resources, groups, tips, and tricks. We're joined today by Julia Justy. Julia is a senior at Texas Christian University who grew up in Pennsylvania. After almost 4 years and 7 semesters of finals week, she is sharing all her tricks to stay focused, motivated, and finish strong with a good GPA at the end of each semester. Before we begin, it's important to note that resources are all around you when it comes to finals week. Be sure to reach out to teachers, create study groups, and find out what works best for you. A major resource at TCU is the Campus Advocacy, Resources, and Education, also known as CARE. This resource wants to help students succeed, but it's important to take care of yourself first. Check out the link in my bio to learn more. Another resource is the tutoring program around TCU. Students should take advantage of other students who excelled in classes they're taking for their help and assistance in how to pass a course. Check out the link also in my bio to access the TCU tutoring program for your major and find help now. And now we welcome Julia. Julia is on her second to last semester here at TCU, which means it is her 7th finals week, and the stress of this dreaded time does not waver, but it can be managed. Although we are no professionals, just 2 college students who have some advice on what worked for them that could potentially work for you. So sit back, grab a pen and some paper, pour a glass of wine, and let's conquer finals week together, hopefully with a little less stress this time. Hi Julia, so as you know, we're headed into finals week, and being a senior, this will be your 4th year having to endure the stress that comes with this week. So we'd love to hear all your tips and tricks for how you are surviving the weeks before break. So tell us, how are you feeling going into finals week?
I'm feeling pretty good. I've been able to keep on top of my work leading up to this week, and at this point, I just have to take it one day at a time. That being said, it's important to take some time for myself each day.
Absolutely, I completely agree, and I have been struggling a little in the weeks leading up as well, but day by day is a great way to look at it. I'm sure at this point in the school, in your school career, you have a few tips and tricks to de-stress throughout the week. Would you mind sharing any of those with us?
Absolutely. So I think it's so important to take breaks. It sounds silly, but it helps me regain focus when my mind starts to wander and my studying becomes unproductive.
I couldn't agree more. I love little mental refresh when I'm starting to feel myself lose focus. Do you have any specific ways you spend your little breaks?
Yeah, so these breaks can be from watching a show, getting outside for some fresh air, catching up with friends, scrolling social media, really whatever you enjoy as a little time off. I also think it's important to eat good meals. This is something that will keep you focused on work and less on your hunger.
Absolutely. I have found that if I fill up on chips and junk food, I tend to be hungry faster and less productive during studying. That being said, meal prep makes my week the easiest. Otherwise, I will go for whatever's fastest which is usually junk food.
Right. Healthy meals are key. Next, I find the exercise really helps me. This gets out all the jitters and extra energy that would otherwise leave me antsy and distracted when I sit down to study. I find that working out first thing in the morning sets me up for a productive day.
I agree, and exercise also helps me to have a better night's sleep, which is so important during this week. Sleep is key to making sure you wake up ready to start the day and accomplish your goals. All-nighters are no one's friend during this time. My next question is, how do you reduce the anticipated stress of finals week and the weeks leading up?
The anticipated stress is a real downer for finals week and unavoidable, but I have found that if you stay on top of your work during the semester, you will be more prepared for the final week and less panicked to learn all the material.
Totally. I have found that if I start reviewing the material earlier than a few days before, then I'm more than prepared to start studying because I'm then organized and am more familiar with what I'm covering in my study session. This organization leads me into prioritizing the week with what is most important and time sensitive. I find that I try to study my biggest, most heavily weighted and difficult finals first. I also try to mix this with studying for what I will be tested on earlier in the week. This allows me ample time to use my study sessions productively in order to have the most productivity. Well, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to give us a few of your tips and tricks. And best of luck to you this coming week. We are looking forward to having you on the podcast again sometime soon. If these little tips and tricks didn't sit just right with you, there's an awesome source linked in the description called 5 Tips for Managing Stress During Finals Week from Pepperdine University. Within the article, they explain how they think it's important to practice self-care first. The first tip, self-care, includes getting outside for some fresh air after working hard all day, which is vital to keeping your spirits lifted, as well as exercising, staying hydrated, eating healthy meals that fuel you up, and avoiding that junk food that will slow you down or make you feel sick and groggy. They also recommend asking for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help from professors or classmates. People want to help others succeed, especially teachers, or use the academic advising appointments for some guidance on how to take those next steps. Their third tip is finding a study buddy. Working with groups can sometimes be fun and help you retain the information by explaining it out loud to one another. It also helps if you get stuck and need to hear a concept from a different perspective or bounce ideas off of one another. Tip number 4 is completing a non-academic task. This could be cooking a meal, decorating for the holidays, watching a show. But it's also important to set a time limit so you can get back to work and focus after that short mental refresh throughout the day. And finally, tip number 5 is getting started. Half the battle is starting to study and learn the material. You've survived every finals week before this one, and you'll survive this one too. So grab your notebook, grab your computer, sit down, and let's start studying. If you're local around TCU, some great options I have found to help make finals week a little less bad are grabbing a breakfast from Rollin' & Bolin and a coffee from Starbucks, taking a walk over to the library and Reese Jones. Now, inside tip, I like Reese Jones more. I think that the library can get a little chatty and become a social hour where I'm often distracted. Another huge tip would be reserving a study room. They become available 24 hours ahead of time, so be sure to set an alarm the day before so you don't forget to book the cozy spaces. If you're like me, and usually still can't get one, there are little nooks all around the second floor of Reese Jones. They have small tables, booths, and a bunch of hidden spots. You just have to walk down the skinny hallways, and trust me, it's so worth it. But be sure to take some breaks. Grab some snacks in the library cafe and hydrate. I find that after I study for a while, I love to walk around campus with some friends, take in the community, go and head to the commons. The commons are covered in couches and big TV screens, so it's great to hang out there and debrief the day with some friends. After that, be sure to grab a meal on Frogbucks, like Chipotle, snappy salads, or head to the crowd favorite Eatsies for some pre-made amazing Italian cuisine. And again, if you're like me and crunching for those last-minute impossible exams, back to the library for the perfect silent night and great atmosphere for grinding. But be sure to grab a Froggy 5.0 on the way back to your dorm or apartment just for some extra safety. Now, I know finals week is not a fun topic to chat about at all, but it is an important one. So with that, I encourage you to get an early start, set your goals, prioritize your most heavily weighted grades, and set time limits for yourself. But most importantly, don't forget about your self-wellness during this time. Treat yourself, get outside, take a walk around the block. These 4 years go by way too fast, and every moment should be savored. Take it from a sentimental senior like me. Finals week may be the worst, but in 6 months, I bet I'd rather be here at school, struggling through exams in a study room with my best friends, than scattered all across the country, getting up for work tomorrow. That's all for Thriving in College tonight. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you take something away. Good luck to everyone tuning in during finals week. Study hard, and it all will be over before you know it.